So you're thinking about running, but not sure how to take the first step. My name's Brian Patterson, and I'm here to help. And welcome to Brian's Run Pod. In the second part of our discussion with Tom Long, a running enthusiast from Up and Running in Teddington, here to spill the beans on the secrets of conquering the cold. From track pants to wind jackets, gloves and premium running gear, we're diving deep into the elements that not only make your run comfy, but keep you safe. And that's not all. In our special Christmas edition, we're unwrapping the gift of knowledge with discussions on the latest in running gear evolution, waterproof clothing, hydration vests, GPS watches. We're breaking down the benefits, affordability, and why they're game changers, especially for ultramarathons. Stuck on finding the perfect gift for the runner in your life? We've got you covered. From massage tools and the ever-elusive perfect pair of running shoes, we're sharing unique ideas that will make your gift the one they will remember. Speaking of shoes, we know it's a personal choice, and we've got tips on how to get it just right. I really hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. And let's say for the leggings, is there any advice on leggings not being too baggy, or do you want them kind of tight, or is it just very much up to the individual?
It's kind of personal preference. Personally, I would have them tight, like skin tight. Yeah. Again, it can feel a little bit weird if you have never run around in them or something. Feels like you kind of walk into public and it's like, oh yeah, am I going to get a restraining order or something? Especially if people are used to wearing kind of tracksuit bottoms, but it's fine. You won't. I haven't yet, so it's fine. But no, if it's you're less likely to get chafing and stuff if it is relatively tight. Again, there are kind of in betweens out there between like your full on tracky bottoms and your leggings. Puma do, was it like the favorite run pant? I believe it is. And then
is that where you stock here?
Yeah, so we do at the moment. I don't currently have one to show you because they're all sold out.
Okay,
but that's good. The Ron Hill, I can't remember. I think they have a couple, but they do something that's again in between. Like this product does exist where it's a little bit more of a tracksuit bottom, but it's more tapered. So it's lighter weight, it's more ventilated, it's tapered, so it's almost like a pair of leggings, but it'll have more pockets. If you're going for a longer, slower run, you still want something, that'd be good. Yeah. Personal preference, I would probably always choose something kind of, tighter, just on experience, I guess, less chafing and stuff like that. Yeah.
But also, as again, general rule is that you do want to have clothing which is going to be breathable. And
yes, yeah. Especially,
I've heard it said that when you're going out running, run as if it's going to be 10 degrees warmer or something like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some people maybe put too much.
Yeah. And it almost becomes difficult to actually hit your natural running pace of that because you're kind of heating up so much and you have kind of something else on your mind. Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah. So I would say if you get out the door immediately, you think it's cold, don't necessarily be scared. You'll heat up very, very quickly. Obviously don't go out. Well, people do go out wearing shorts and a vest at the moment, but unless you've already done that before, I wouldn't necessarily jump in like that. For me, at this kind of temperature, I have leggings and stuff on the underlayer, and I have maybe like a long sleeve and a zip long sleeve or something as well. So you see these kind of over jackets. Ron Hill does a good one where it's not waterproof, but it's kind of like a splash jacket or a wind jacket. That's good. A lot of these you can kind of unzip it, and actually they have these buttons that kind of go up the zip. So even if it's unzipped, you can actually have it.
So it's a zip over buttons.
So the buttons are quite spaced as well. So you can unzip the whole thing, do the buttons, so you have a lot of ventilation going through. It's not just fully zipped up, but also it's not unzipped bagging around. So that's good. Or I'll just wear like a long sleeve with a short sleeve on top or something like that. So
Yeah,
a little bit of extra layer. The long sleeve you can always roll up, so it's effectively a 2-layer like short sleeve at that point. But yeah, I at this temperature I'd always wear gloves, just because for me anyway, the wind chill when you're running it actually cools down your extremities quite quickly.
Right.
Like if people get cold ears, hats as well. Hats are a good way of actually keeping heat quite a lot. Because you lose most of the heat out of your head. So if you can restrict that, a good hat will actually, mean that you can run in a little bit less, in terms of upper body clothing. But yeah, I mean, gloves for me personally a must at this kind of time of year.
And also, if you have to be careful because it's dark and it can be ice. And if you fall over and at least if you've got gloves, there is some protection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is a bonus as well. And oftentimes as well, I mean, a lot of these gloves, they have reflective points because you'll see on a lot of these bits of clothing, the reflective points are on kind of points of movement, right? So kind of on the arms or on kind of the waist that pivots, and gloves are no exception. You'll be swinging your arms around a lot, your hands, and so you'll have these reflective points on the back. So adds an extra layer. Exactly. Adds an extra layer of visibility, which is quite nice too. Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. So now let's move on to the sharp end.
Fun stuff.
Expensive,
yes. Of course.
Expensive stuff. So either for yourself or for someone who you really, really like.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you want to put. So anyway, I kind of put it here in my notes, premium above £65.
Yes. Yeah.
And before we started the podcast, you did say that you are introducing a new brand of watches.
Yes, right. So KOROS, and I mean, like Elliot Kipchoge is sponsored by them, so they're no joke. So I believe we're getting them in at some point. I can't put a date on that at all, but I mean the ones that people know and love out there, like Garmin, Polar, I mean they're sound as well. KOROS, I would say, as a brand, maybe focuses more on, I mean, it's brilliant for road, but it has some nice kind of trail specific features. Not only does it have very long battery life, which is nice, so used by people doing ultra marathons, but has these nice kind of bits of like software that you can plan routes on. You can literally just plan a route on your phone or your computer and sync it directly to the watch, and it can direct you. So it's got very good navigational features. Like I said, their battery life is actually phenomenal. Like compared to like a similar one in the Garmin range, you're talking maybe like, I mean, the Garmin, no slouch. I mean, you're talking like a 265 around kind of, like it lasts you kind of like 13 days or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, it's honestly, they've got a lot better with the with Garmin. They've only recently gone to like the AMOLED screens, the nicer screens. So up to that point, they could kind of maintain the battery life, which is nice. So they only just got confident with their battery enough that they've actually put the AMOLED screens in the new one. So 965, 265 as a little tangent side note thing. But KOROS is for the same price range, like roughly double that battery, which is awesome. It doesn't quite have the AMOLED display, but it has a nice kind of LCD, I believe. But yeah, it's a nice brand that a lot of people haven't heard of. I believe we're getting them in at some point. But it's definitely a cool one to add to kind of the normal kind of Garmin Polar thing. Personally, I've had a Garmin for quite a while. They are phenomenal pieces of kit. The way I look at it.
If someone was, they're looking to go up to that level and, they've done their couch to 5K and they want to invest a bit more, what do you recommend in terms of what they should be looking at and in terms of getting a running?
So as a model, I would say the Forerunner 5.5 from Garmin is very, very good. It's everything you really need. It's the kind of the lowest one in kind of the running specific models, but it is, it's very
affordable.
It's very sound. I mean, I say affordable. I mean, it's 180 odd quid. Okay. So it's not cheap, but it is, you get a lot for that 180 quid. Yeah. You get the ability to pair it to a heart rate strap. You have the heart rate on the back of the wrist. You have, access to Garmin's GPS systems. You can obviously analyze your pace afterwards. The Garmin app, like the partner app, is excellent. So if you really wanted to get into the metrics of, how you're actually pacing your runs, you have your splits, you have, the map, and oftentimes, on the Garmin app as standard, I believe you get the heat map of kind of where you've slowed up at certain points. It adds another
stride length.
In terms of those metrics, I don't know if the 5.5 would do stride length and stuff. Oftentimes with that, you need to, either it's in higher end watches or you need to pair it with a strap in order for it to actually get the data in terms of like vertical oscillation and stuff like that. But yeah, like it would have a lot of very useful things. Usually, I mean, grand scheme of things, if you really want to kind of get into running properly, it's very useful to have access to heart rate, so you can kind of just run in your zones, right? You want to be doing most of your running quite easy. I kind of mentioned the 80-20 rule. It is rough. It varies depending on what sport you're training for. A good rule is 80% easy, but if you have heart rate, you can kind of either as you're running, look at it, be like, okay, I need to slow down, my heart rate's too high, or afterwards you can check. I mean, if that felt easy, you're like, oh, I hope that was easy effort because it felt easy. You look afterwards, great. It was, for me, maybe like 135 beats per minute. That's like my easy range. I check, great, cool, it's good. Or if it, feels rough and you're running at the same split, look, maybe your heart rate's higher than usual. You might be worn out from a session before. You might be getting slightly ill. So it's good to keep tabs on these things, definitely. Does elevate the kind of the running game.
Anything else on that sort of expensive?
Yeah, so consult my handy notes again. Yeah, I mean, another thing I've written here, I mean, waterproof clothing. If you did want to go to a waterproof jacket, a lot of people, they come in here and they get shocked about how expensive they are. Usually they start at, with us anyway, we have a 160 and 170 quid jacket. Right. So initially, you're thinking, wow, that's almost as much as kind of like a GPS watch. That's insane, Tom. But yeah, they are phenomenal bits of kit. It manages to have an insane level of kind of, water repellency at an incredibly light package. If you're ever doing
like trail running.
Yeah, it's almost like a safety thing at that point. You'll see, I was going to bring up in ultra marathons as part of the kit that you definitely need to have, or, you need to have like your backup food and stuff like that. But you also need to have something that is, over like 10,000 on the hydrostatic head kind of scale. So basically, I think it means you can stack around like 10 litres of water on top of a centimetre squared kind of bit of material and it won't start going through. I'm sure if I'm wrong, someone will correct me there. But anyway, and so in order to get that's 10,000 on this is kind of considered waterproof. So, they need to know that if you get stranded out there, you won't die of exposure while they try to find you. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying everyone's doing an ultra, but they are very nice bits of kit to have. For me, I mean, I've had this discussion with customers as well. I mean, if you have the luxury of the entire day to go running, you might look outside. If it's a weekend and be, I'll go running a bit later. But if you have to get it done in the morning, you don't have a gym to go to, you just need to go get it done. It's great. You whack it on, makes the whole process slightly less miserable, which is always, always a bonus. So that's good, especially it's a nice kind of seasonal gift. We have Ron Hill and Prezio jackets. Ron Hill's a name I've said a lot, but the range of clothing is great. And also it's not, I say, it's not massively expensive. It's quite affordable. I have just said it does an 170 quid jacket, but again, that's kind of higher end, like higher end material and stuff. Yeah, I've written here like Garmin's and stuff. Yeah, 5.5 is good. Yeah, I mean, beyond shoes, we can go to shoes in a second. It's an interesting topic for a gift. Hydration vests are interesting. A lot of people, if they want to get into kind of longer runs, hydration vests can seem quite daunting, oftentimes depending on the brand. They're over 100 quid and you don't necessarily need it as an entry-level runner. People think, oh, maybe I need a hydration vest to run.
So what are the benefits of the hydration?
So especially if you're running even in in a race situation, like people use them for ultras, but even if you're running like a longer training run, again, like it depends. Like a lot of people in the groups I run with, they won't necessarily use it, but especially if the longer run is daunting to you, if you can stay hydrated throughout your longer run, it does mean your body works more efficiently. It means you can sweat better, and that means that more blood is diverted to the muscles. So the less efficiently you sweat, the more your body needs to cool down through other means. So like your blood vessels dilate to try and cool the surface of the blood.
And this is what the vest is doing, is it?
Well, so the vest allows you to take on more water because you've got water just in the pockets, and then because you've got more water, you can sweat more efficiently. I mean, being hydrated does other things too, but one of the things that you see in all these kind of hydration tablet companies are saying the better you can sweat, the more blood goes to the muscles, and then therefore you can work better. Again, it's there's other stuff like blood viscosity and stuff like that, but it's if you're going over 15, 20k, even if it's a training run, a lot of people use that as an opportunity to take gels or, just try and stay hydrated. I wouldn't necessarily do like any work sessions with it on. Usually if you're sticking around the same area doing a work session, you can kind of leave a bottle somewhere, or if you're on the track, you can leave that there. But it's, it also just, if you're turning your run into a good day out or something, it's nice not to, die of thirst halfway through. You put snacks in there and stuff. No,
of course. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we have the Solomon ones. It's a great great company for that. Oh, pardon me. I'm cracking up. I'm emotional at the thought of such a vest. No, I'm getting slightly ill, I think, at this point. Clearly, I haven't been taking my own advice and putting all my clothes on. But no, that's an interesting like kind of side gift before you kind of like get to shoes. But again, not necessarily for everyone, but people like running for longer. I know people who go, you know, again, they're not training for ultras necessarily, but they like going for long runs around Box Hill. You know, it means pockets for your keys and stuff. Again, it's always nice not losing those.
Or your phone or that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I think I've seen somewhere you do stuff like for massage, like massaging the legs. Is that right?
Yes, pulse roll and stuff. That's a very good shout. Yeah, so Pulse Roll is a brand. We have those massage guns. I mean, a lot of people have probably heard of the company Theragun.
Good for recovery.
Yeah, so it's similar. It's, you know, people have seen kind of foam rollers. You know, it's just a method of stimulating blood flow to kind of deeper muscle tissue. And then that kind of, you know, flushes out any toxins that might be left, you know, increases blood flow to the area so you can repair the muscle and, you know, kind of, you know, get nutrients to the muscle a little bit more efficiently. But that company, I mean, it does a range, you know, the kind of, the guns themselves range from kind of 150 to 250 quid, at least the ones we have. So they're more expensive.
Okay.
They
again,
do,
this is kind of the expensive end of the,
But again, like compared to a company like Theragun, where it's routinely at around 400 quid, it's very nice, very affordable. They have other things, like they have foam rollers that vibrate, which initially sound like quite a kinky prospect, but you know, it does help. I mean, it's, you know, it helps stimulate if you just want to, you know, don't want to change anything about your routine in terms of having to sit there and use a gun.
And the purpose of this basically to sort of kind of, it's not iron out the knots, but to basically to get more blood into the
the vibrations stimulate the blood flow. Again, it's not necessarily a full-on replacement for a massage. I mean, you know, you go to a physio that they can do a more thorough job, but you can't go to them every evening, or they even a return customer like that. I think you know, if you're knocking on their door at 8 p.m. even, they might. But yeah, it's a, you know, all of those bits are a good bit of kit. I would say, like the roller itself is around 80 quid. So it's just a kind of, you know, souped up foam roller effectively. It does have a vibrate function. Again, if you're used to using a foam roller, you just do exactly the same thing, just using the different settings. There's a controller if you want to, like, you know, because they have different settings in terms of how the frequency of, you know, how much they're vibrating, just so you can kind of warm up the muscle, go to the more kind of, you know, severe, you know, oscillations kind of later on. But yeah, and I mean, in terms of shoes themselves, they are a difficult gift, I would say. I mean, they're not a lot of us, a lot of our customers even, and actually a lot of us, you know, in general, you know, either we would try on the shoe if it was a gift for me and I would pass it on, or, you know, a lot of our customers, they come in, they try the shoe at this point. I might even have mentioned before, I think at this point of the year, you know, early December or late November, just transitioned over. Yeah, the people come in, they try on the shoes, they say, you know, my mum, my partner or whatever coming in a week to buy it for me. Again, it's still, you know, it's still a gift. It's just, you know, you're not going to be disappointed on Christmas Day. You don't have to send it back, basically.
Yeah. Well, you could get like a voucher.
Yes, so vouchers are a very good way of doing it. We do vouchers. We do, you know, I mean, whatever kind of thing you want. At this point, actually, we have a promotion on. So with the vouchers, if you accumulatively get 100 quid's worth of vouchers, so it could be 250s, could be 520s, could be 1 and 100, whatever it is, the person buying the voucher actually gets a £10 off kind of token for themselves. Okay. So they can use that whenever they spend over 50 quid, I think in store or online. But yeah, it's a little bonus for the person buying it, basically. Okay. So yeah, it's, again, that's a bonus. But like you said, yeah, I mean, gifts over 65 quid, you don't necessarily want to get wrong. So if there is any doubt, vouchers, definitely worth it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, people work around it different ways. Like if they do definitely want the shoes on Christmas Day, you know, you've got a park run to go to on Christmas Day, you want to try out your new shiny shoes, I'd suggest going to the shop, give it a bit go. Like, you know, I mean, it's always best to try these things on in person anyway. You don't really know what shoe or what company you'll gel with, and especially kind of what size. They do vary until you actually kind of
and try also the sort of the pronating.
Exactly, yeah. So in terms of the level of support.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you're currently wearing the 860s, right? A bit of support under the arch. I'm wearing the 1080s here. Both New Balance. They both have the majority of the sole is the same in both, the Freshman X, but they are quite different shoes. I mean, this one, it's softer all the way through. It doesn't have the support. With yours, especially if someone's kind of getting going running and they do need the support, that would be a bit more crucial at that stage, because they, like I kind of mentioned earlier, you don't want someone trying to get into the sport of running and instantly get injured and fall out with it before they've even really tried it, just because they have the wrong shoes. So anything we can do to help is always nice. But it's the process of getting shoes. It's an art and a science. Definitely helps if someone can try them on in person.
Right. All I can say is, well, we've nearly done 50 minutes. So, which is, you've been like a wealth of information, but really, thank you very much.
Usually people complain when I talk to them. No. talk at them for 50 minutes, but you've been very gracious. Thank you.
No, you've been fantastic. And if just saying that if ever you're looking for ideas, then hopefully you've given the audience at least, some, whatever price range, some ideas as to what they can do, sort of thing. So
Christmas is hard enough as it is, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, well. Anyway, I just want one last question, which I tend to ask most of my guests.
Okay,
do you have a sporting hero? It could be from
sporting
rowing.
Hero. Oh,
it could be from
that's
rowing.
A big one.
Or it could be from whatever.
Very good question. Okay, to be fair, I might stick with the theme of running. Jake Whiteman, he's an absolute legend. He knows the manager and stuff as well. So 1500 meter. Yes, so not this world champs, one before.
Okay.
So no, he's an absolute legend. He actually trains in the gym down the road. So I've had conversations with him, which is at the end of the day, it's not all that special. But anyway, it's he seems like a great guy, and he's come into the shop. We've done talks with him and stuff. So that in itself is nice. Annoyingly, because the promotional material at the front of the door with New Balance we used to have a picture of him signed and stuff. At the moment, we've just cycled it off for another one. But it's nice him kind of deigning us with his presence, and obviously he does.
Because he was injured.
He was yes. So he was doing kind of the interview side with the BBC. So he's still obviously he's last time I spoke to him in the gym, he was kind of pretty much back there in terms of his mileage, but working around it, that's always difficult. But it's I don't know, with him it's nice kind of coming in and like I said, he's done like a Q&A and stuff alongside some other athletes in here, and it's not only nice just seeing someone like that in a store like this, with the people from the public coming up asking questions, that kind of thing. So not necessarily kind of, he's an absolute like unit of an athlete, don't get me wrong, but it's not be all end all, but it's nice to kind of see that in person and make it a lot more relatable, especially when he'll just talk to any old people, and he's quite a forthcoming guy. Like it's he kind of came over to me, don't you work up and running, that kind of thing in the gym? And so, I respect that from people. Unfortunately, I haven't talked to all the other athletes in the world, so I can't vouch for them. But, it's nice seeing, especially when you get to that level, it's like, the person underneath is still humble and nice. And I imagine a lot of them are out there, but it's very cool.
Farah, he used to.
Yeah, another legend. Here. Yeah, exactly. His post box is literally right down the road, or one of his post boxes. I think obviously you got two. The gold one, I think it looks like it's got hit by a Tesco delivery lorry or so, but it shrugged it off. It's fine. You should have seen the other guy. But no, he himself, what he did in 2012 and everything else is absolutely amazing. The double was nuts. He's an incredible racer, and now he's finally retired. Hope he can look back on his whole career with a lot of pride. He definitely should. Not that he'll be listening to someone like me tell him that you should feel really proud of yourself, but who knows. But and with him as well, his last kind of official run, Great North Run. So I feel that with my first kind of official running race being Great North Run. So not that I'm comparing myself to Sir Mo Farah, but another great guy. We could sit here and name athletes all the time.
But okay, well, thanks very much, Tom. Thanks very much for your help. And as I said, I hope everyone's maybe got some ideas.
Yeah, of course, exactly.
And Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you and everyone else listening.
Okay, bye.
Thanks.
That's it for another episode, and looking forward to speaking to you next week with some beginner hints and tips about running. I just want to let you know that you can follow me on X, or what was known as Twitter, at Brian's Run Pod. I have just recently set up a Facebook page which is called Brian's Run Pod, and I am on Instagram at Brian's Run Pod. Also, my website is www.briansrunpod.co.uk, where you can get show notes, or on whatever podcasting app you are listening to the show. Plus, all my episodes have chapter markers if you need to get to different segments of the show. Plus, leave a review as it will help others find this podcast. Music is Happy Day by Stock Audio, not forgetting artwork by Alice Patterson. Till next week, thanks again for listening.